Good morning and welcome to Trinity Alliance Church Virtual Style. Before we get into our time of worship this morning, there's some important announcements that we need to cover. Number one, the church website, www.tahchurch.com. Please take some time to go to the church website. And on the home page there, you'll see some very important information that really tells you about how to connect with what's going to be happening as we move forward through this season together. Three important icons are there. Two I'm specifically going to talk about now. The Facebook icon. If you click on that, that will directly take you to the Trinity Alliance Facebook page that you can also like. And it also gives you the opportunity at that page to invite others to like the page so that they can be made aware of what's happening. When the videos are posted, people will receive notifications. The other icon is the YouTube icon. If you click on that, that will directly take you to the Trinity Alliance YouTube channel where once again, sermons will be posted and other important videos. The third icon that you'll notice there is the Instagram icon. That one is up and coming and will be made known in the near future. So right now, the Facebook and the YouTube are two very important modes of communication. People have also been asking important questions on giving. Obviously, we're not meeting together as a corporate body right now, but you can still give. On the Trinity homepage, you can see the icon Online Giving. If you click on Online Giving, it will then take you to another page where you can fill out your personal information and also designate how you want your offering to be given. You can also mail a check to the church, and you can find that address on the church website as well. All the information, once again, friends, is right there for you. Small groups. There are a couple that have started. What's going to be important here is that from your phone or from your tablet or a computer, you can go to www.zoom.us. You want to download that application. From your phones, you can go to the Play Store, type in Zoom, and you can also download it right there on your phone. That is going to be the mode of communication when we have prayer time and small group Bible studies. A ladies' Bible study is on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. There is also going to be a prayer time Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And Dan and Marion Cruz are going to be starting a Bible study Wednesday evenings from 8:30 to 9:30. The codes to get into these Zoom sessions are going to be posted on Monday. So if you have any questions, please, you can reach out to Pastor Jeff at 609-703-1474 to be able to get more information. But once again, these codes will be posted, so stay tuned for that. The last announcement is the Easter Family Project. Jenna Conley did a wonderful video just the other night. If you haven't had a chance to see it, please take a few moments and watch that video as everything is explained about that project. Herself and Christy Bates will be at Trinity from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday to further pass out the cartons and all the other important information that you're going to need. It's an opportunity for the family to come together to celebrate this Easter season. A scripture I just wanted to read, friends, before I close here, this announcement time, is found in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. I know that many of us right now are dealing with difficult times. Let's be real with one another. Loss of job, furlough, struggling to make ends meet. In one shape or form, all of us right now, our worlds have been flipped upside down. But we know that God is faithful. And as it says here in His Word, let us hold unswervingly to the hope, and that hope for the believers in Jesus Christ, that we profess. For He who promised is faithful. Our God is a faithful God. He is a good God. And He loves and cares for you so, so much. And more than anything, He wants a relationship with you. So as we enter into this time of worship this morning, the distractions that seem to constantly clamor at us and try to take our attention away from the Lord, use this opportunity now, wherever you are, with family and with friends, to draw closer to the Lord, because He is in the business of building and restoring what the locusts have taken away. And God is faithful, and He will see us through. We look forward to the time where we can come back together as brothers and sisters to worship corporately, but for this season of separation physically, we are definitely not separated spiritually because of what Jesus Christ has done for us. So God bless you, you and your families. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to ask everybody to turn to James chapter 1, and we're going to start in verse 1, and we'll be reading through verse 4. I am going to ask you to get your Bibles out and to turn there because, especially today in what everybody's going through, I believe it's a good book to read through because it really goes over what the Christian life looks like and going through trials. All right, we'll start in James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes in the dispersion, greetings. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. I do believe the Lord brought me to this verse, not just because of what we're going through with this virus and everything, but when he speaks about trials, and he speaks about trials of many kinds, and he also doesn't use the word if there. He uses the word when. And that's very important because the word when means it's coming. Just like it is right now. It's coming. And the various kinds, we're seeing it in our church already with the Bensons, what they're going through. We're seeing it with the Wakeleys, of what they're going through. It's not just this virus. This church has been hit in many different ways. So the Lord has brought me to James, and we're also doing a Bible study in James also, which makes it even easier to bring this to you. And another thing is, when I read through this, I thought back, and I know I use this a lot, but I thought back of my son's accident. Because when you come out of times and trials like this, you should be different. Your faith should be different. And when your faith becomes different, it produces steadfastness, the endurance that you need. And the beginning of the endurance is so important because that is the start of, you got this. We can get through this. And after that, you'll read in verse 4. Follow with me. And let steadfastness have its full effect. You would notice that word let there? That means it's something that you have to do. You have to let it have its full effect. And what does its full effect look like? That it may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing, which is the character of God. And that's what we're looking for, perfect, complete, and lacking nothing. So during this time of trial and tribulation, whatever you're going through, understand that your faith is being tested by God himself. Allow it to create the endurance to get through. And then let that endurance become and make you perfect and complete the way God wants you to be. Let's pray. Father in heaven, I just thank you so much for this time, Lord. Lord, I thank you for the church family. Lord, this is so awkward, reading and praying and talking to a camera. But I can see all the faces in the morning that I'm used to seeing. They're etched in my mind because they are my family. And they have the same blood of Jesus Christ running through their veins as I do. And I thank you for that. Lord, I do pray for the Wakeley family right now. Lord, I pray for Hannah. Lord, I pray that for pain relief. Lord, I pray for complete healing. Lord, I pray for the mother and father who can't go and see their daughter at the hospital because of all that's going on in the world right now, Lord. Lord, I just pray, Father, that you comfort them and that you give them peace. Lord, I pray for the Bensons right now. Lord, I thank you that there has been good news with this cancer diagnosis. Lord, we always have hope with you, Lord, and I pray that they have that. I pray that they have the hope of Jesus Christ deep within them, and that they know that this trial is a test of their faith. And Lord, I pray that it turns into steadfastness, and they let it become complete. the way you had hoped that it would be. Lord, I pray for Pastor Jeff, Lord. I pray that that the words he's bringing are your words, Lord. This is not easy speaking in front of a camera. He needs his people. But Lord, you give him the strength and the endurance to carry through. Lord, we love you and we praise you, and we thank you for this time. And I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Good morning. It's good to be back together with you here this morning. If you do me a favor and turn in your Bibles to Exodus 13. We're going to be looking in verse 21 to get us started. I was in the store the other day and I saw a man struggling with a huge bag of dog food. And as he was trying to carry it out to his car, I realized that bag was just too much for him. So I called across the parking lot. I said, "Hey, do you need any help?" And he said, "Nah, I got this." Now, I've talked to a lot of you on the phone, and I'm just calling and asking, "How are you doing? Is there anything that you need? Can I help you?" And I'm getting a lot of, "Nah, I got this." Well, my goal this morning is that we get to see that that's not God's plan for us. God does not want us to got this. Today, you need to realize we were never created to got this. We were created to trust God and be in awe of the one who has it. This week, it hit me really hard. On Thursday night, I got a phone call from Linda Wakely, and she was telling me that her daughter, Hannah, was running and got hit by a car. And because of the virus, they weren't allowed to go in. Nobody had any idea how she was doing. And we were afraid, and we were terrified. And then I remembered what I was going to be preaching on. And I realized, God, you have to do something here. Our back is against the wall. And that's what I want to preach on this morning. So please dive in with me as we look in Exodus. Go back 1 second, back in Exodus 6. We talked about this last week, that God's goal is that we are his people and he is our God. And remember, Israel, when God had said that to them, that he was going to free them from Egypt, and he said to them, "I will be your God. You will be my people. I will rescue you from this, and I will take care of you." He wanted a relationship, and that hasn't changed. We have a God who wants relationship with his people. And we need to trust, because trust is the basis of that relationship. Now let's look at what God does to draw trust out of people, to teach them how to trust, because trust is not something we do naturally. So turn in your Bibles to Exodus 13, and we're going to be looking at verse 22. It says, "By day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people." Did you hear that? The first thing you need to understand is that God is already here. God is already there. What I realized, and what I sent a message to Linda, I said, God beat the ambulance to the operating room. God beat the ambulance to the ER. He was already there. God goes before us. We can trust him because he is our God, and we are his people. We have a relationship. There's no other religion in this world. There is no other God that offers a relationship with his people. And that's what God desires from us, is a relationship. And to build trust with Israel, he went ahead of them as they're escaping out of Egypt. He guides them. He guides them by a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. He went ahead of them. The people didn't need to know where to walk. God had already been there, and he had paved the road for them. But then God does something that seems really off. God leads them into a place where they're trapped. Pharaoh realizes he's given up all of these people and all of this free slave labor, and he wants his people back. So he comes chasing after. He gathers his entire army, all of his chariots, and he goes chasing after Israel. And what God did is he led them to a place where they would be hemmed in, where you would have Egypt coming after them, the Red Sea right there next to them, and there was no escape. And we look at it and say, God, why would you lead them there? Israel actually even said, why did you bring us here? Were there not enough graves in Egypt? Did you just want us buried out here? Sometimes that's how we feel. We begin to question God, and during these times, when our backs are against the wall, when we have no choice and we have no ability to do anything, it's God building that trust. It's God building that relationship and saying, I want you to trust me. Then it says that God took the angel that was ahead of them, that went in front of their army, and he moved them behind Israel, in between the Egyptian army and Israel. And he protected his people. And he guarded them. And then God did something that is absolutely amazing. He gave them a way out. He opened up the Red Sea. And I love that it says there was a wall of water on their left and there was a wall of water on their right. And Israel walked through as they were going on dry land. God said, listen, trust me. Now listen to what God's words are to the people. Look at 14, verse 10. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified. And this is where they cried out to the Lord. Verse 13. Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord will bring to you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will not see tomorrow. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. I'll tell you, Thursday night, that was hard. It was hard to sit back and say, okay, God, I can't get there and see them. I can't even imagine Linda and Dave trying to go see their daughter in the hospital, not knowing what's going on. As a pastor, I love to be there to just comfort and to hold and to pray and to try to speak words of encouragement and share God's word. And I could do nothing. I felt powerless. I felt like there's nothing left I could do. I didn't feel like I was a good pastor. But that wasn't my job. My job was to be still and know that He is God. The word went out and the church began to pray. I remember Jonathan Whitmer is in the ER, and I sent him a message. If you're in the ER, can you go and pray with Hannah? And Jonathan actually got in, was able to pray with her. And the next message I get is that she's going to be okay. She has broken ribs. She's in a lot of pain. A lung had collapsed, but we were thinking the worst. We may think the worst, but God knows the truth. And if we are still and we trust Him, we know that He had been in that OR long before we had ever gotten there. He had been working with the doctors. He even put Jonathan there at such a time as that to be able to comfort and to pray when no one else could. God, we do thank You for that. But what I learned Thursday night is what I'm trying to get across to you today. That when our backs are against the wall and we have nowhere else to turn, when we have a virus that has pinned us in our houses, what do we do? How do we go? Where do we move from here? Let me read to you again what Moses said. Do not be afraid. Stand firm. Do not be afraid. Stand firm. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. We need to trust Him. We need to trust our God. And then what happened was absolutely remarkable. I love this story, and I always tell this part of the story when we do baptisms in the church. And I do that because it's such a symbol of salvation about what happened. You had Israel who were slaves, who were trapped in their sin, and they needed God to come in and give a God solution in a problem that man could do nothing about. And so God came and set his people free. And as they came free, God said, first, you need to trust me. I'm going to show something to the Egyptians. I'm going to show something to you that I am God. Now remember, just because Israel didn't think God was their God did not make God not God anymore. God had said it. I will be your God. You will be my people. That has been God's plan all along. Relationship with his creation. And so God frees them. And they go walking through the Red Sea with a wall of water on their left and a wall of water on their right. And as they're walking through, they look and they see what is being held back is death that they deserved anyway. But God held it back. Can you imagine what God has held back in your life as you have walked on dry land? Is God trustworthy? Yes. In the huge things, God is incredibly trustworthy. He is the God of miracles. And there are times when we get in our lives where we need him to show up. But what do? We spend a lot of time worrying. Spend a lot of time fretting. We spend a lot of time trying to figure everything out. And God says, just be still and be in awe of what I'm going to do. What an amazing God we serve. And then all of Israel is safe and sound, and they're on the shore. There's still one problem. The Egyptians, and in your life, it's sin is chasing after you. And what does God do? The water crushes in and wipes it out. It's gone. The Egyptians were gone. The entire army was wiped out. Can you imagine the Israelites standing on the other side of the shore? They have no idea what to think. We're free. We are finally free. Egypt is wiped out. There's no army that will follow us anymore. There's no going back. And let me read to you what it says at the very end of Exodus 14. Look at verse 31. It says, when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared God and put their trust in him. What was God's goal in all of this? Get them to trust him. Like infants have to learn how to trust. God had to take this infant nation and teach them how to trust him. And so what did he do? He had to put their back against the wall, had to put them in an impossible situation so that the God of the impossible could be seen. I love when God does that. I hate getting there, but I love when God does that. Hannah's story, that did that in my life. I learned Thursday night, God, again, I can trust you because you are my God and I will be your child. The next thing we see Israel do is they begin to complain. We've talked about that a lot. They begin to grumble and complain, but they're there in the desert. And God does something absolutely incredible. He has about 2 million people wandering through the desert. And what God does is he has to feed them all. They're complaining, they're hungry, they're thirsty. All of these things are going on. And God provides them manna. And I love how he does it. He takes manna. Every morning, Israel would wake up, and on the ground that would look like the dew was some type of grain. Actually, the word manna means whatchamacallit. They had no idea what it was. But they would go out every morning and they would gather it, and it would be enough for them for that day. If they tried to take enough for the next day, when they woke up, it would have maggots in it and it would have gone bad. God only wanted Israel to understand one thing: I will provide. He showed them that he was the God of the impossible, but now he is showing them that he is the God of the ordinary. He will continue to provide for them. He wanted his people to trust him. Trust him with the extraordinary, but also trust him in the ordinary. And what God does with his people is an incredible example of my life and your life. God wants to free you from the sin that is in your life. He wants to rescue you like he rescued Israel as he took them out of Egypt. He wants to baptize you. And this is why we are baptized, because we die to who we were. And we come out again on the other side, standing on the shore, looking back, and there's no return. Sin has been wiped out. Our shame, our guilt, it's gone. You are forgiven. It's over, and a relationship has begun. He is your God, and we will be his people. God wanted that relationship with us. God wanted that relationship, and this is an incredible story to teach us that. I want you to understand one other thing. God gave Israel manna every day, provided them everything that they needed. No more, no less. Because his mercies are truly new every morning. And during this crisis, during the quarantine, when we feel like we won't make it, you need to understand, God's mercy, you don't need to borrow mercy from tomorrow for today. He's given you enough mercy today for what you need. Has there been a day in your life that you woke up and didn't have enough mercy? No. God has given you all the mercy you need today. When you wake up tomorrow, he's going to give you enough mercy for tomorrow. We don't need to worry about tomorrow. We don't need to worry about what's coming next. We need to stand in awe of the God who's got this. Do you worship a God who has it? Do you trust him? God's going to continue to give you opportunities to learn to trust him more. This is our opportunity to sit back and see him at work. As you see all of the chaos going on around us, as you don't know how to respond or where to go or what to do, I know the one thing that God is saying is, trust me. I got this. It's not your job to get this. You were never created to have it. You were created to draw close to the one and keep your eyes on the one who has it. Our God is an amazing God. Thank you.